So you're about controlling the controllables. Your offense has been able to do that despite the tough environment last week. What do you look to build on going into the tough environment this week from a penalty communication standpoint?
Yeah, we need to build on that from last week for sure. Communication is key when you're going into a hostile environment, a noisy environment. But more than anything, we got to make sure that we play with great tempo. I felt that's the one thing coming off the Oklahoma week where we didn't do a good job. And whether it was a result of noise, whether it was a result of scheme, whether it was a result of just not getting into a rhythm, first down efficiency, things like that, we got to make sure that we play with great tempo.
When you're in that tempo, does that lend itself to not making those mistakes because you're in a flow?
Sure, that is part of it. Usually when you're in a tempo like that, it means you're being efficient. So those go hand in hand. Sometimes guys get a little antsy and jump for the snap and all that. If we're moving really fast because the communication speeds up, sometimes the communication is even bypassed when we're trying to move really fast. So I wouldn't say it's more conducive to not having penalties, but you hope that with a rhythm that will come.
How much better off do you think you guys are for having had an experience like Oklahoma as you go on the road to Georgia now than, say, if you hadn't?
Sure. I remember saying going into the Oklahoma game and coming out of it that every experience we have is a learning experience for so many young guys that we have, for the 20-something freshmen that have played, and the 50% of the travel squad that was traveling for the first time. So I think that whole experience of traveling and going into a hostile environment like that has been a learning experience, and we'll be better off for it.
Coach, it's kind of along the same lines, just how beneficial to have those 5 offensive linemen have 2 weeks of practice together as a unit, off that game tape.
Yeah, they're getting better every week, and they'll continue to get better as they develop that chemistry.
Is there carryover from facing the 3-4 team, two games in a row? I mean, is there similarities here schematically?
Yeah, there's some similarities schematically. Quite a few differences, but there is a little bit of carryover.
And when you look at them, I mean, I know you're used to seeing good linebackers in the SEC, but these 4 guys, they played a lot of football. I mean, they seem like they have multiple guys that can get to the quarterback, play tough in the middle. Just how much of a challenge is it to scheme?
Well, I'll tell you what. It starts with Ramik Wilson, number 51. He's got to be one of the best linebackers in the league. He is all over the field and plays with great energy. Reminds me a lot of A.J. Johnson for us. He makes his presence known, and our guys are aware of where he is at all times. Obviously, the other linebackers, Leonard Floyd is as much a hybrid linebacker D-end, but he is very athletic. Definitely a good pass rusher, number 59. I think his name is Jordan Jenkins. Does a great job rushing the passer too. More of a D-end type, but in particular, Ramik Wilson's really good.
Such a young team. How have y'all been able to avoid penalties the way y'all have? I mean, how much of an emphasis was that in training camp and stuff?
It's always an emphasis. It's one of the keys to Coach Jones's program is discipline, and making sure we have the discipline to, whether it's with things like penalties or just in everything we do in every facet of our life.
What have you seen from Georgia on tape that you think that you might be able to exploit a little bit and use to your advantage?
I don't want to give away too much of the game plan here,
sure.
But they're a good team. I mean, they've created. They're very disruptive. I think that's the best way to describe them. Very athletic. They're aggressive. They're aggressive schematically. They're aggressive in their style of play. They create a lot of ball disruptions and takeaways, and we'll definitely face that challenge.
Like you talked about Oklahoma being a learning experience. Do you think it was a reminder for your team that you can't go on the road and turn the ball over 3 times?
Yeah, that's. I don't know if Oklahoma needs to remind us of that, but yeah, it's always, anytime, home, away, SEC, non-conference opponent, you can't have critical mistakes in critical situations.
How is Josh Malone responding to the increase in his role and the pressure on him to produce now?
He's responded well. He's matured over the course of training camp, over the course of the season, and continues to get better and better every week.
You guys have talked a lot about them being disruptive. I guess what do they do schematically? What are the things that they do to be disruptive to try to cause turnovers?
Well, they're just talented, number one. They're very good rushing the passer. They're very conscious of trying to take the ball away. You see them going for strips all the time, things we preach in our defense. But also schematically, they pressure a lot. They pressure from all different directions, out of many different fronts, play various coverages with their pressures. They game plan by opponent. You see them changing quite a bit from opponent to opponent. So there's a lot of unknown going into the game as to what exactly we will see.
Do you think their pass rush is as good as Oklahoma's?
Yes.
Do they do anything different with the pass rush as opposed to Oklahoma?
They're a little different schematically. Oklahoma was doing it more out of true three-down personnel, bringing those outside linebackers. These guys will vary it up in between their three-down and their four-down schemes.
How good is Justin Worley if you rolled him out of the pocket? Does he throw well on the run, or is he better suited to be in the pocket?
He throws well, I'm sure. But I think his strength is definitely being in the pocket and seeing the field.
Coach, whether it's Malone or somebody else, if Josh is limited this week, just how imperative is it you get somebody opposite Marquez to step up and be a threat?
Sure, we always need playmakers, and we've challenged our guys across the board, whether it's the wide receivers, the running backs, the tight ends. I always come back to the fact that, hey, we can get guys that can get what the play is designed for. We need guys that are going to make people miss, break tackles, make the extra tough catch, and we need to make sure that we have more than one, and guys need to step up.
And along those same lines, getting Ethan back, I know is a boost in the passing game, but just you don't think about it as much. But it seems like he really holds up well, as a blocker too for a freshman.
He's very well rounded.
Is that a big boost to the ground game? And did you miss him in Oklahoma in that regard?
I wouldn't say we necessarily missed him. There were several reasons why we might not have been as efficient in Oklahoma, but to have a guy like him back is definitely helpful.
Can it be overstated how important it is to keep Justin on his feet and give him time to get the ball out?
I think that's always important. We gotta make sure we get rid of the ball on time. We got to make sure that conceptually we're able to do that.
I guess are tight ends more important in the blocking and the pass protection against 3-4 teams like this that are going to come at you from different angles? It's more kind of on them to make sure that they're chipping and helping out on pass protection.
Sure, we have a whole system of chips, whether it's the running backs, the tight ends, a whole system of helps. But again, versus teams that pressure a lot, like Oklahoma, like Georgia, they're going to put you in one-on-one matchups, and we have to win the one-on-one matchups.
Coach Scott's been back out this week. Darrell Scott, is it feasible that he could play? I mean, haven't missed as much time.
Absolutely, he's had a good week of practice, and brings a spark to us.
What do you like about Scott? What does he bring to the table?
He's very quick, has good speed, and runs with good strength.
Mike, I'm sure you got asked this already, but with those two outside backers in Georgia, that sort of size and versatility, how difficult are they to match up with?
They're really good players. They're very athletic. They're good at rushing the passer. They're good at playing the run. They're well-rounded football players. So, and they do a whole lot of they drop them in coverage. They bring them in various types of pressures, move them around. Sometimes it's hard to get a beat on where they'll be. So, again, our guys got to step up and win our one-on-one matchups.
Thank you.
Thank you.